Listen, you cutting all this out.
All right, here you go.
I'm sorry. There's a very big difference between the people who are telling people go out and get fat versus a Lizzo who's saying accept me the way I am.
She's not just saying accept me the way I am. She's dressing extremely scantily clad and then saying if you don't think that it's normal for a morbidly obese person to be wearing a G-string in the middle of public, then you're the problem.
Being fat or skinny.
Because I really imagine that shit too.
So that's the first question. Let me actually just get, like, as we go through the questions, let me get your reaction. Being fat or skinny is a choice.
I think generally, yeah.
Yeah, it's generally a choice.
Generally.
I
like
think
a good 80% of people. Maybe.
I think for like 95% of people, it's a choice.
What about the other 5?
No, like the other 5, like you can literally have maybe like a disease or like certain things like health wise that don't allow you to. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think for,
such
that's what I think for most people. Like there's stuff that happens. I know that you like that you can just regulate weight the same way or something. So there's some stuff that happens that way, but for the most people, I think it's a choice.
Maybe a little higher then.
Of course, not every factor is purely choice. I don't think that every factor is, but I do think a majority of it is. And in most cases, for most people, being skinny or being fat is about willpower. It's about the environment you grow up in, sure, but who you choose to associate with, what sort of things you choose to listen to, who you choose to kind of have as your friends around you and support you. All of those things are choices that you can make that will lead you closer towards being one or the other.
I know what I do with my body. I know what I put into it day in and day out.
I like his
He holds
answer.
himself accountable a little bit, or holds accountability a little bit for what he said.
No, I think that's a very self-aware answer.
Yeah.
I think it's a very reasonable kind of response.
Agreed.
What I put into it day in and day out. I choose not to eat some days. I choose, how I want to look. And I don't fault anyone for how they want to look or how they want to be, but I think it's a choice at the end of the day.
So I just want to make sure. I think it's like the extremes on both sides in this panel. It's like people that are super skinny and like people who are fat or obese.
Yeah, I think there's a whole bunch of people with like extreme mindsets on either end.
Yeah, I think that's what it seems like.
Are.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it's like, being healthy in a certain way. It's
Yeah,
more
no, because I was just saying bugging, like, because eating is fire. Like, food is fire. I can't think about like not eating just because I want to be skinny, like, or like I want to be super skinny.
Yeah, that seems uncommon to me.
No, I don't know how hard. Like, because there's people that anorexic, I believe it's it.
and bulimic and stuff.
Yeah, so I like those things exist, but I just like it just sucks. I can't do it. Is all I'm trying to say.
I'm very, always wish-washy on how I want to be presented and if I want to gain weight or not. But the only person that's going to gain the weight at the end of the day is me and me myself.
For me, it's calories in, calories out. Go to the gym, you'll get buff. Don't go to the gym, you won't get buff. I understand that there's genetics that could cause you to want to eat more, but even with the genetics that cause you to want to eat more, the same solution is calories in, calories out.
I think the whole choice is, always determined on who they are. And it's not going to just be a thing done overnight.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of, I think it's like breaking the barrier and breaking a lot of things, not only your body, but also breaking your mental state.
Sure.
And again, that depends on who you are and what you want to go through.
You know what I'm at? I think for some people, making the choice is harder than others to make certain choices, but it's still a choice.
Yeah.
Because I think some people may conflate the fact that we may be saying, I think it's a choice as to something negative. But I think for many people, food is an addiction. And if you're addicted to something, saying no to it can be very hard. But you're still choosing to eat what you eat or to not get up and exercise or whatever the case might be. It's still choices. Whether the choice is harder for you than it is for other people, there's still choices.
True.
Disagreeers?
I'm a lie, except for like children, because then the choice is on the parent, not on the little kids, based on what they're feeding the kids. Just in case, I'm just gonna throw that out there.
Yo, motherfuckers nitpick anything. Yo, you read the comment section sometimes, I'm like, yo, they just be nitpicking. Bro.
I felt like as a toddler, I always viewed myself as big. I grew up in a very poor home, so just where my mom couldn't provide them.
I just want to, what's the word? Project that a lot of this is going to be excuses. I'm just throwing it out there for these people that just came in. that agree it's not choice. I just have a feeling, but let's keep
I think
going.
it's gonna be excuses, or it's gonna be blaming other people or society.
Yeah. Lack of accountability and excuses.
Like I think it's gonna putting the blame on someone else.
Can y'all let them get their shit off?
I'm just saying.
Damn,
I just
come
wanted to
on,
throw
son.
that out.
Y'all attacking early.
I just wanted to
I haven't
see.
attacked. I'm just making a guess.
That's what I'm
Meals
saying.
that she could healthily. So when we would get like free meals, even then it would be like canned food, and it would be like very much food that's not as edible. It was food for us, yes, but then I felt like once it reached a point where I was old enough to try to make my own choices, I made all of the wrong choices. I wasn't.
Yo, now that he's around people, I can't help but just he look like a cold vampire, bro.
Yo.
Keep it being like I can't just everything about him is just that's what the vibes is giving off. And like now that he's next to people, it makes him really noticeable how much
How
like
skinny
that's
he is.
yeah, and what he's trying to like go for.
He definitely
Like,
looks
he look like he
hungry.
drink blood on like Thursdays or something.
Probably. He probably can't see the sunlight.
The wrong choices. I wasn't eating, and I was only eating like grapes and lettuce, and that was mainly because I was in a sport, and that sport just worked me out so hard. And it was to the point where I just was scared to eat. I didn't like it. I would only drink water.
When you were eating grapes and lettuce, were you thin?
I was the thinnest I could be.
Were you still big though?
I was still big, but that was the skinniest I've ever been, and that's coming from somebody who was only eating somewhat salads that are just fruit and lettuce and water and maybe ice right before a practice.
Do you think that right now you would not be capable of becoming a thin woman if you wanted to?
Possibly would be capable of becoming a thin woman, but since I was young, I was supposed to get blood tested probably when I was very, very young, and I never did. And they had mentioned that it could have been because of my weight and how that connects with my thyroid. I never made the connection, and I never had like that like leaning parent to be like, go and get checked out, go and do this. Like,
But how about now? You're a grown up now.
I'm not, this whole the whole time in the beginning, I'm hearing like, oh, she got like a mental disorder, like mental health disorder. But people might take it as an excuse, but I'll give her the bail of like, oh, it's a mental. I understand when we have those childhood traumas, but now you grown, and if you still ain't go check none of this shit out, now you just making excuses.
I'm not giving her bail.
your weight is probably not your fault. It was always like, your weight is your fault, so that's your issue.
I mean, I also struggle with, thyroid and my own blood issues. I'm not quite sure, but I do see an endocrinologist and I go see a doctor. It's a choice to do the requisite steps. It's a choice to go grocery shopping instead of going to fast food when it's easy. It's a choice when you're grocery shopping to go to the outer aisles and like not go into the bread section and not go into the junk food section. These are all choices.
As a disabled woman, I can't do a lot of the things that people say, calories in, calories out, oh, you gotta go work out and exert it. A lot of the things that are typical, oh, this is how you lose weight, put me in the hospital. I have to navigate weight differently. I have to look at it differently. My weight is the way it is because of medication, because doctors put me in this position, and I had to learn, okay, am I going to be so hateful of my own body that I am going to backlash and put myself through extreme gym nights, through keeping myself from eating things that I...
What up? What's an extreme gym night?
Yeah, well, that was my same question when she said that too.
I think maybe what she meant is that it might be extreme to go to the gym for her, like on the toll that it takes on her body.
Okay.
Maybe it's not a regular thing, so that one day that she does go, it feels like, you know that first day back at the gym is like the hardest day.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what she might mean.
Should be able to eat. You should be able to have a balance. You should be able to go into the junk food aisle like other skinny people do and still not have to worry about gaining 20 pounds.
But
Those are choices. Hold on, no. She just switched it up on you right there. She just said you should be able to eat. You should be able to go to the fast food aisle or the junk food aisle and not gain 20 pounds.
Like the skinny people.
But also she's saying that not work out. That doesn't add up.
Correct.
Shorty's saying that you could do those things, but you also you got to work out. You got to balance it out.
But what I'm saying is it's all choices. If
Yeah.
you're choosing to go and eat it and you know the outcome that can come from eating this food, don't say that only the doctors put you there. You're kind of saying, I tell myself that I deserve this type of food, so I eat it, and that's fine. But understand that if you eat it in an excess, some of the outcome is going to be you're probably going to gain weight.
Right.
And maybe not even in the excess. Maybe it's in the period because you can't. She probably maybe can't walk or maybe can't work out like that regular enough to.
She did say that it was
sweat.
doctors and medications the reasons why she's like this. I mean, I don't know her
Backstory.
backstory.
I don't know what it is, so
But
I'm just going based on what you're saying now.
yeah, I can't really.
I don't think skinny people
Not
go
all
into
people.
this junk food aisle.
They
I think
certainly do.
I eat a lot of junk food.
Yeah.
I mean,
a lot of junk
Yeah.
I mean, my DoorDash would tell you otherwise.
There's a thing called set points. There's a ton of research on it that your body likes
Can
to
you pause
be
it for a
at
second?
specific.
Your DoorDash should tell you otherwise, but you're also making the choice. At certain days, you ain't gonna order shit. You're not gonna eat for multiple days. You're making the choice to not eat. So it's like,
It's a choice.
yeah,
That's
bro.
the point.
Like, yeah, I'm co-signing the bullshit as opposed to telling her. Like, I feel like she was the only one that was at, like telling like, yo, it's a choice. Like,
Yeah.
you can make some type of difference.
And the same way you can order junk food through DoorDash, you can
Order salad.
order something that's healthy.
healthy.
It doesn't even have to be a salad. You can do different choices.
Yeah.
Weights. It likes to be in a specific way. So if you are fighting yourself to lose weight by not eating, over exercising, and you are damn near killing yourself to be at a specific weight, your body's unhappy.
It's important to note that a choice can be harder for people to make due to conditions in their life.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it's still a choice. I could say that I had food addiction. I looked at food when I was stressed and this and that and this. And so it's harder for me to choose it than for someone who has like the perfect lifestyle, someone who has parents who are giving them this and that and this. But I definitely still acknowledge that it was my choice. At the end of the day, when I go there and I look and I see, should I order a second hamburger? I'm the one choosing whether or not I order that second hamburger. I'm the one making that choice.
That's valid.
That is very valid. Hey,
He smoked that. He smoked that shit, man.
very quick.
I ain't gonna lie. I like that one.
I would rather be skinny than fat. Can the agreeers please step forward?
I don't like that question.
I don't like it either.
Like I don't, because
Why-
I don't
why
think,
don't you like it?
because I think the concept of being skinny doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy per se.
Thank
But,
you.
that
But
wasn't what they asked.
no, I understand. But I'm saying I'm just commenting even on the question itself because I think that question it's
I feel like that stigma is attached to
it's
it.
a loaded question. But I get it. It's for the instance of this debate, it makes sense. But what I'm saying, if they would have said I'd rather be fit than fat, because fit doesn't
Yes.
mean I have to have abs. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. Like I've been fat and I'm skinny now, but I wasn't in shape then and I'm not in shape now.
But I don't even say
get
you
what
have
I'm
to be in shape. That's what I
But
mean.
no, but that's what I'm saying. So I think that the question is like I've been both things and I'm skinny now, but I'm not in shape. So it's like, but I would rather be skinny than be fat. I would rather be out of shape skinny than out of shape fat.
Gotcha. All right.
That's how I perceive that.
Step forward.
Makes sense. You have to think about it.
I think there's a lot of different struggles when it comes to being a bit bigger. And I have a sister that is very, like, she's 400 pounds and she struggles a lot. She has lymphedema and to shower is really, really hard. So I do think for like an overall happy life and like zero struggle, I think I'd rather be skinny.
I think that it is common in society to want to be skinny. I think the average person typically wants to be skinny. I'm actually surprised that I didn't see more people come forward on that question. People treat you better. It is what is considered the standard of beauty. Your life expectancy is longer. You tend to be healthier.
I'm also really tall. I'm 6'6", so I kind of wish I could just pick a single struggle because finding clothes and things like that when you're bigger both ways can make it really hard. So if I was skinnier, at least that's one less thing I have to worry about. But also, I've got 2 kids and a wife, and I'm taking care of them. And as you pointed out, I definitely think that I'm at less health risks if I'm a skinnier person, if I'm a healthier person in that capacity. And I would much rather be that so that I could be around for my kids longer.
So far, I think he's the most
Logical?
in tune. Not even logical, because
I
he
mean, not
just
logical.
like he's more in tune with like almost reality
Yeah.
in the way that he's talking, and like he's very self-conscious. And I'm gonna say one thing about whether being skinny or fat, like something that is sometimes hard to admit, but we have to say it. The world itself has been designed for people that are average size, even though now we can say that maybe the average size of America has changed, but just your day-to-day life and lifestyle has to be uncomfortable the bigger you are. Because there are just like little normal things that I probably don't even think about it twice that are probably uncomfortable for somebody who's bigger. Like even just walking down an aisle in like in some
going up
store, like
steps.
sitting at an airplane, like sitting in public benches. I don't even know, like regular stuff that I don't even think about.
No, I get it makes sense what you're saying, but so the rest of the world should accommodate to America's norm because America is the fattest country in the world.
Well, I'm not
Like,
saying we
there's only
should.
like 2 or 3 countries.
Well, I'm
that
not
are,
saying
like,
we should. That's what I'm saying. Like the world itself gets made for the majority of people.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Like on average, even if we say on average we're bigger, the average weight is still not probably completely obese per se. But that's what I mean. Like it's just some of the choices you make it harder for you to live your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Longer?
Can the disagreeers please step forward?
I'm speaking as someone who actually was a former smaller person, and I had the most body insecurities when I was small. I was constantly living in fear of gaining weight and having people tell me, oh, don't gain weight, don't do this, make sure that your weight is the same. And once I finally gained weight, I realized that first off, life wasn't over. I didn't feel any need to not engage in life the previous way that I had, and the attention that I got was different. But even as a smaller person, you get negative attention. And rather than trying to control my body to avoid that negative attention, I would prefer to address the situation as a society, make it more accessible for everybody to where we aren't feeling like I have to be a certain way.
So you're saying, I don't want to change, all of you change.
That's what I got from that.
Yeah, like I got the airport shit because I know that wasn't what you were saying before, but that's the same thing. Like thing that I got from this is
like you're telling me, I don't want to change what I'm doing. I want the entire world to change how they interact with me.
Conform to my world.
Like, where does that make any sense? Like, make that make sense. It's like, I don't have control over me, one individual. I want to change 300 and something million people in America.
like I don't think there's anything wrong with me being confident and comfortable if I'm fat and like me, how I feel in my skin. Like I should feel comfortable like that, but I don't think that I should push on other people that this should be like the norm or whatever, or act or be mad when other people look at me a kind of way when I know like this isn't like the beauty norm or whatever. Like I can't be mad about that shit.
I think it's important to push being healthy. I think that should be the norm. Like we should push that.
But then you get shamed for that shit.
I mean, it is what it is. But
I think we've been played the biggest trick ever.
On the internet, we get shamed for that.
Not even the internet. I mean, we've been played like the biggest like trick on ourselves ever, that we complain and we're going towards the unhealthy stuff while we are making sure that the companies and the products that get us to be so unhealthy profit like crazy.
Of course.
Like those corporations are like loving this. The fact is like, oh, we're not allowed to shame fat people, even though all these products that we're shoving down your throat are the ones making you fat. We're not allowed to promote being healthy because now that's being looked at as a negative thing. To me, that makes no sense. Like being healthy is looked at as a negative thing in society, or we're trying to make it that way. That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And like, I know we want to acknowledge it and we want to be inclusive, but sometimes we want to be so tolerant that then we're not tolerant of even the healthy person, which makes absolutely no sense to me.
But no, I think but that's done on purpose for that same exact reason.
That's what I mean. That's why we've been played right now, the biggest trick ever. And it's right in front of our faces. Like they're not even trying to hide it. And we don't even recognize that we're being played.
That's normal in order to be treated like a human being and respected.
If I could counter, because I was a bit bigger when I was younger, and that's when I was the most insecure. I would look in the mirror. I did have family members that were skinny, but then I had a family member that was much bigger. And just the way that I perceived myself, I hated it, and I even became anorexic to like not be big.
I don't think skinny always equates to being healthy.
Exactly.
I am fairly skinny. I'm 6'5". I'm 140 pounds last time I checked, and I'm severely underweight. And I know about this on a day-to-day basis. That being said, I don't know where I'd want to lean at an appropriate weight level, but I think it's important to understand for some skinny people, we're not living a great life by any means. And sometimes I feel like that's always kind of lost in translation when they see someone who's really skinny.
I guess it depends on what you mean. When you think of the term skinny, are you thinking of just like an average weight person, or are you thinking of how you are now?
I'm the average weight for like women in America.
Yeah,
so if we're talking about an average, I'm going to be the closest.
She made sure she finished that sentence. She said the average weight for women in America. And I don't know what her height and weight is. but I know that I can believe that it's higher in America than every other country. We have the highest obesity rate, and we have the highest weighing people. Period.
And that doesn't mean it's right. That means we have too many fat people.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm gonna be honest. I don't like. She said that as like a justification kind of thing, but I don't think that like.
Nah, she's definitely not the average weight, bro. Because she's not 170 pounds.
Let's say she's like 5'8" or something. I didn't see that. I didn't see the chart.
Bro, you're not.
All right, yeah. So
nah,
pause it right
you're
there.
definitely not the average weight.
Yeah. No.
So the average weight in America is, hold up, let me find it. So for a 5'4", 110 to 145, she's not 5'4". But
Can you show me like a 5'9" woman?
I'm just gonna find the average. Average woman in America is like 5'4".
Yeah, honestly, I was asking for myself on that one. I'm gonna be honest. I was asking for me. I wasn't even.
Yeah, so there we go. So 20 to 39, 168 pounds. 40
But
to
that doesn't
59.
I don't like that's an age range. Like I think
No.
height is a better.
No, this is just telling you average weight period. So for women in 20 to 49 range, it's 167 pounds, 167.6. 40 to 59, 176. So the older you get, the bigger.
She was definitely wrong. She's definitely above. I'm not gonna say definitely.
She said that confidently
she might be
too.
Yeah,
like,
but I think that like a better debate would be more kind of height based as opposed to age based because there's so many different people. Like,
well, we're doing average, so it doesn't even matter. Is the average out of all women within that age bracket is that?
no matter the height.
And
can you still show me?
And 170, I'm 175.
Can you still show me that chart? That's right there. I just want to see that chart
for himself.
Yeah, I do. I really do.
But this is for women, so you want for men?
Yeah. That's exactly what that's the chart I want to look at. That's for women, right?
Yeah.
So was it 5'9"? It's from 128 to 168. That's a big range.
If we're talking about an average, like I'm gonna be the closest. If your biggest priority is to be at a smaller body, you need to reassess your priorities.
Yeah, not focused on health.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should like guesstimate her weight.
The guy next to her is 6'5".
The guy next to her is 6'5". But I mean, they're sitting down.
No, I get it. But just looking at your torso, from your torso to your head,
it tells you.
Her titties is covering where her torso start. I'm gonna keep it a beat. Like, nah, I'm gonna sound mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm being honest.
You walked
Such a gap between the research, because the research has a huge fat phobic bias in it, and there has been research that shows that they aren't, even especially during, let's say, COVID.
How is research
fat phobic bias? No, I already don't like her.
I don't even think in liking her. I think we're coming to the point that
I don't like her.
When I cannot argue the research, then I need to label it something to not agree with it.
There has been research that's made to push agenda certain ways, but I don't know exactly what she was looking at, but I don't think that's what this is.
I would say a lot of the research actually leans the other way.
To say that it's fat phobic is
I think a lot of the research when it comes to foods and stuff that makes you not healthy and gain weight is done the opposite way. They make food that's definitely not good for you, make it sound healthy.
Yeah.
Say COVID and the correlation between obesity. They rushed through the.
Yes, COVID killed more fat people than skinny people. That was one of the comorbidities.
Yeah, people
guaranteed.
The most comorbidities, yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
Those studies so fast because in society's mind, of course a fat person is going to equal someone who's going to get sick faster, is going to get sick easier. It was an easy jump. So they didn't do all of the testing that they were supposed to do. They didn't.
It wasn't an easy jump. You were dying more.
And it was because it was upper body, like respiratory and this things that like multiple things that affect people that are overweight, that have comorbidities from these things from being overweight. So it's not that it was forced, that it was made to look towards overweight people. It's the reality of what it is.
Correct.
It's just the lack of health made you more prone to the death because of COVID. And
I think actually when it came to COVID, especially America, compared to other countries, we didn't actually say enough how bad it could have been for somebody who was overweight.
Because they were making
and not to say that even the healthiest people still didn't die, because I'm sure there were, but we're talking about the amount of people unhealthy versus ones who were. I'm pretty sure this side overpowers the ones that were healthy when it comes to the amount of deaths.
if the studies were fat phobic, then then they gotta mention some ageism shit too. Then because it was a whole bunch of older people dying, so why didn't talk about no ageism with this shit? It's just fat, and now it's just fat phobic.
She
Like, come
just
on,
sounds.
like,
She just sounds
putting
like
excuses on bullshit.
Exactly, excuses and lacking accountability is what it sounds.
Check their bias.
So
They
if
didn't
by
check.
saying the study is biased, you're saying that the study didn't account for the variable that obesity may also take a factor into. It's just that there's so many variables in humanity that these pharmaceutical companies could only account for so many during their trials. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're biased. However, if you want to talk about bias in studies, actually recently we've been doing the opposite. So for instance, a lot of our studies have been based on BMI. And so we've been showing that, fat people aren't necessarily extremely unhealthy if we look at people with a certain BMI. However, bodybuilders also have a really high BMI, and so they get counted into that category. And so it wasn't until very recently that they equated for that mistake, and it shows, oh my goodness, being fat is actually extremely unhealthy, like way more unhealthy than we ever realized.
You can't gauge health by looking at somebody.
Yeah.
Like, none of my health issues, all of them precipitated my weight gain. But I always get assumed, oh, don't you want to be skinny so that you don't have a cane anymore and you don't feel the way you feel? And it's like, no, because I have lupus and I'm always going to feel like this.
gonna happen
Like, I
no
have
matter what.
CRPS. It's going to deteriorate. It's going to continue.
America has an obesity problem.
Yes.
You can honestly, we can skip past this one because we all know this shit.
Yeah.
It's going to be the answer to them.
Oh, absolutely.
They all better say yes to that shit.
There's one that
It's
didn't.
pretty clear. You look at the weight of the average American, you see how obesity at
I think it's pretty clear. You look at the weight of the average American, you see how obesity has affected not just children. I mean, the fact that we have more younger and younger people who are looking heavier and heavier, and you see that, like, you know, the way that weight affects us as a society, and you compare that to how we were in the past. Now, not that we should always, you know, we shouldn't compare ourselves to the era of the Great Depression when people just couldn't find food, of course, but people are heavier now in an unhealthy way, and people are eating unhealthy. They are eating it through unhealthy access to food. They're eating diets high in seed oils. They're eating high in corn syrup. They're doing all this kind of stuff that's not good for them that we didn't used to do, and it's bad. It's not a good thing. It's an epidemic. It needs to be quashed in some capacity.
There's so much access to just.
He's the only one who's mentioned like legit stuff. Like seed oils is probably one of the #1 killers right now that we have in America. And like people don't talk about it, and we use it in everything. Literally.
Seed oils?
Yeah.
Like
seed oils. Like oils that come from seeds and stuff like that.
Like, give me an example.
Canola.
Okay. That's
Like
why I
oils.
am thinking about the right stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
To just anything. Like, it's so crazy these days. And, you know, I'm so surprised that we're actually supporting a lot of this, you know, and there's always people like, like, it's fine that we have like 3 McDonald's like on the same street. And it's just like, we don't think that this is adding to the problem.
What I think is really sad about that is so many people in
Can
America
you pause
just
this?
see the profit.
But isn't that not taking accountability for shit? Because why is it's not McDonald's fault that if they have 3 McDonald's on the block that
It's the market.
they all busy.
Yeah,
It's
like
not their fault.
Yeah, like if you're spending money there, you're choosing to spend money there.
Like, I know McDonald's isn't the healthiest of food. I try not to eat there if I don't have to.
I think he was saying it more of like a point of like that there are more and more people agreeing to make this choice. You know what I'm saying? So that's why there's so many McDonald's.
I agree. And I think a big reason for that is the kind of excuses we are making for being unhealthy. It's like, in many ways, we are promoting being fat. We are normalizing being fat. We are saying that being extremely overweight, it's okay. Like, we have people now, just weird to say, like in the cover of magazines and so on, like portraying
Plus
it
size
as
stores.
like this is the norm.
Yeah.
And we're just going to continue with it as opposed to saying, this is out of the ordinary. Like, we probably need to change and we need to find a way to get back to being healthy. So instead of having that, we're just changing our perception of society to normalize the unhealthiness.
I I don't want to say I know that these people know the problem, but it's like, how can you not see the problem? They have to see it and just not care. They have to just be like, well, we're gaining profit. Do you see how much this McDonald's
Who
is
are
making?
these people? So like so I think I don't blame the restaurant owners. Like I do think some industries do make certain, they do invest money into getting some laws passed that will regulate certain foods in a certain way that make it a little bit more accessible. But when we say these people, this is deflecting from the self accountability that we need to have as individuals and be like, oh, we're not going to eat this, or we don't want this, or push the government to say we don't want this. Because we saying they know, are we saying the owners? Are we saying the government? Are we saying the people that we're putting in positions of power? But if we don't tell those people that we don't want this, as opposed to doing what we are doing now, which is telling people we need to normalize being fat and that it's okay to be fat and don't be fat phobic and don't shame whatever you want to call it. So the politicians are going to do what most people are saying, or what the loudest mouth are saying, which is being fat is normal, being fat is okay. So now we have to promote this, and I cannot say things that go against that because I don't want those loud voices to come back at me.
Label you as like fat phobic or you're fat shaming and stuff like that, and that's another route for you to get canceled.
I'm listening to you speak, and I'm thinking about something. Can you name me any like major brands, companies, like food or whatever that are pushing like any like healthy lifestyles? Like there's nobody that's like a McDonald's, but like just something of that nature that's pushing a healthy
brand
lifestyle.
companies that are pushing
Anything,
healthy
food,
lifestyles,
clothing, any brand, any company.
Well, there's a bunch of companies right now that they call themselves green, but there's now like I know like Kevin Hart has a vegan restaurant that he started in LA, like vegan burgers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like that's one example. I'm not necessarily saying that vegan is a way of being healthy. It's probably different.
It's a healthier option than
compared depending on how you view it.
Yeah,
but you have stuff like Salad
Subway's
Works,
not healthy.
some sort of compare it to who you compare it, maybe Subway. So it kind of depends on what you. Honestly, we need to kind of encourage people to cook and make their own food, which takes a little bit of effort and work, but you may actually save money.
But
and I think that's what it is.
McDonald's, we're gonna keep staying on McDonald's. It's the accessibility and the quickness of it. Because let's not even talk like the affordability we'll take out of it because it's getting more expensive. But even that is another conversation too. It's more affordable than some of the other stuff. But it's just how quick it is. Some people don't have the time or don't know how to cook or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. Like at a bigger level because you're seeing Kevin Hart with a restaurant. That's why I try to say like it's hard to find a comparison for McDonald's because McDonald's.
Well, because that's what I'm saying, and that's part of the society we've created in America where we lean towards convenience, and like convenience is the reason we make choices. Like that's the reason right now most fast food is probably not going to be too healthy. Period.
Yeah.
Because in order for it to be done fast, you're probably necessarily cutting corners. But you are cutting some corners because I need things to last longer. So I'm going to put some extra preservatives, whatever the case might be, in order to make them last. So I think this mentality of fast food is probably what's gotten us there. And then the fact that these companies need such a large production of like potatoes, for example, for like the amount of fries that freaking McDonald's makes. What do you think is being pumped into these potatoes in order for them to last as long as they need to last to be distributed around? You know what I mean? Compared to other countries where they regulate the kinds of food, even McDonald's doesn't taste exactly the same because they don't allow a lot of the chemicals that go into the food to make it last longer to be inserted into the food.
But the same thing with a lot of those other countries don't live that like the form of like the day-to-day lifestyles that we live. Where some of these places and countries, obviously not everybody is the same all the time everywhere, but they don't live the common way that we live here where our lives are a lot quicker and like on the go and we always moving around doing shit. And that's why I say like convenience and quickness. Because it is true. Everything you're saying is true, but I think that there has to be some form of a solution. I think that's what it is. Because I don't think that we're ever going to get it like...
I think it's going to come down to the individuals. Because there's a lot of people that push healthier lifestyle, get up like early, like you do your own cooking, meal prep. Like it just takes effort. And right now we are living in an age in America where we do not want to gratify putting effort. We want things to be done for us and be provided for us and be given to us.
Yeah.
Literally, it takes effort. Like
it's very true.
So let me ask you this question then. So what about for the people like, let's say, I'm gonna use you as an example. I don't know if you do it, no, but I use you as an example. If you cook every day, and then all the preservatives and all the stuff that, and like the things that they're putting into the chicken and the all the health, the things that are supposed to be healthier, like the meats and the vegetables and all these other things that are being sprayed into the chemicals.
Sure.
Some of the things that I'm referencing.
Yeah. What about it?
So how do we go around that?
Even if you're cooking your own food, and let's say, I guarantee you, even if you're eating chicken from a grocery store that you think has all the preservatives in the world, if you're cooking it yourself, it's probably way cleaner than the shit you're eating from McDonald's.
Like, well, not cleaner, but healthier. You saying?
No, cleaner. I mean, literally cleaner with less preservatives and stuff.
So in short, you're not going to be able to avoid the preservatives, but at least you'll have less of it when you buy it yourself.
Yeah, and you can buy like more organic, depending on how you label it.
Air quotes.
Depending on how you label it. No, but you can buy, like, if you go to like a butcher and stuff, you can buy stuff that you know who killed it, and like they're chopping it up for you. So it's a different element that it's not packaged for like mass transportation. So that has less preservatives and stuff going into it.
I'm asking all these questions because these are like some of the things that I sit there and think about, like by myself, or I listen to like other people talk about, other pods, platforms, shit like that. And I'm like, damn, like how do we like try to find an answer to this? Because regardless, so it kind of is no answer. We kind of fucked.
In this country, it's hard to get around it, bro. Like, unless you go to other countries, I feel like it'll be easier. Like DR, I feel like it'll be easier to achieve what you're saying. But over here, damn near to the fruits and vegetables, they be putting in chemicals to make it grow bigger, grow a certain way. They even have freaking grapes that taste like cotton candy, damn near. Like,
just not care. They have to just be like, well, we're gaining profit. Do you see how much this McDonald's is making? Put another one across the street. Like, that's just like how it is.
That's the corporations, it's the medical industry. Having a fat country makes us money.
I would agree with that, actually.
Wait, but she blamed it on the medical industry, though.
I know she did, but like having a fat, that means if I have a fat population, that means that more people are gonna need medical services over their lifetime.
Okay, I can.
So
I mean, but that's a lead.
No, it's like 1.4 trillion. I think that we spend on medicine every year.
It doesn't start with the medical company though.
It starts with the food company that's connected to the medical company. So if me and you are like, all right, bet we about to finesse him out of his $10. I'm gonna sell him something for $5 so he can eat that, and he gonna get sick. Then he gonna come to you and give you his other $5 for the medicine. So but he still got to come back to me to buy the food and back to you to get the medicine.
But if we're talking about the factor of blaming, I feel like it starts with it starts with the people, really. But it really starts.
No, it doesn't. We literally just talked about this for 5 or 6 minutes. That it doesn't start.
It does start with the people.
No, it does start with the people because you're making the choice of eating these unhealthy foods. What are you talking about?
Yeah, to eat to eat Chick-fil-A or whatever, those things are unhealthy. But even if I cook every day in my crib, I'm still gonna probably get sick from the same preservatives and the same shit. So
not the same way. Not in the same way. No, what I'm saying is, if you do choose to, as opposed to like eating McDonald's every day, and I'm saying I'm gonna go ahead and buy food from a supermarket every day and cook it myself, and I'm not gonna use all these oils that they're using at McDonald's. I'm gonna cook it cleanly, even though some of the stuff may have some preservatives. It's not gonna be the same amount.
Yeah, no, we're not. Like I said, I overspoke when I said in the same way. But what I'm saying, you're still going to get sick. Like you're still gonna be affected by these shit. Like so, it's a choice to like.
Not in the same way.
Am I gonna die at 60
food?
or at 75? Basically, is what the choice. That's a big 15-year gap. I know. Like as I said that out loud, I'm like, damn. All right, the choice is obvious. But I'm just saying, for some people, it's like, man, I'd rather just live my life, eat whatever I want, do whatever I want, and then I'm gonna just die at 60.
And 50. I'm okay with that. If you do that, just don't try to put it in society to try to change,
to normalize it
for your choices.
Yeah, and don't blame others.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what you do. Just don't try to impose into my lifestyle so that I can accommodate for you.
Facts.
That is why I wavered a little bit, because I think we have a problem with how to treat obesity. I think we have a problem with how to make it so that it is not an epidemic. This is a systemic thing, that we are in a society and in an environment that breeds this, and we are doing it to ourselves, we are doing it to our children, and our corporations and our industries are doing it to us, and they aren't having to take responsibility.
And they're encouraging it with media. So
Pause it for a second. I don't agree. Like, they're not doing it to y'all. Y'all are doing it to yourselves.
Like, sure, they play a role.
They play a role. Obviously.
She's just saying, but she's just deflect. She doesn't want to take any accountability.
Because it's like,
let's not keep it, because Unless I'm sorry if you got something to add to it. But
Let me just
I
say
feel
this.
like we're going in
Mukbangs. I was
circles with the
literally
same
gonna
thing.
bring that up. The mukbangs and like all those videos that just come up to trends for people
Not
to do
only
it as
the
well.
mukbangs, but also like Lizzo and other big like media.
I'm sorry. There's a very
different.
difference.
You did say that before. I think that it's like propaganda doesn't push like
And normalize,
in
yeah.
the media. Yeah. Like the Lizzos and the Travis Scott. Like even those people that's like are like skinnier, they're still promoting the McDonald's and all these things. That was where I had that thought process. I'm like, I don't really see anybody pushing these brands and these things like these healthier things. Kevin Hart is somebody that really pushes like the lifestyle, the running. He got the apps, the clothes, the
I
food.
think-
But he's one person.
Push what brand? Like the healthy or the unhealthy?
Pushing a healthy lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I think it
don't
depends
see
on
that
who
in
you
the
follow.
forefront.
Like I don't see it on mainstream media, but like you have like the Joe Rogans of the world. You have the Jocko Willicks of the world. You have a bunch of people.
Joe's.
You see what I'm saying?
Conversation.
Now you're switching it.
No. But Joe's an anomaly. But like even let's stay on Jocko. Jocko, like even him being as famous as he is, I've never seen him come across my timeline ever. I gotta go out of I had to become a Joe Rogan fan and hear him on there to figure out to learn about who he is and all the other.
That's not mainstream media.
But that's what I'm saying. It has to be pushed more because even Kevin Hart.
That's the thing
that's in the way.
This doesn't benefit mainstream media, so that's why they're not going to put them up front and center.
Yeah,
because
but
all these
everyone
alternative
changes,
solutions that they may be presenting will hurt the pockets of your biggest advertisers. So if I have a TV channel right now and I have Yako selling a small brand of, I don't know, supplements, and then I have Pfizer, and Pfizer provides me 80% of my income, who the hell you think I'm gonna put in front of you every single second?
But
That's
then,
gonna be pushed more.
But at some point, like money and like value, kind of like your values have to be a little separate.
Not for a corporation. A corporation doesn't have values.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So it's like I don't expect the corporations to push it in the forefront. I'm just saying we have to find a way to get it out there and push more. It
all comes down to holding individuals accountable. That's what it is. It comes down to the individuals making better choices. And if they're not, and they trying to tell me I should change my lifestyle because they're bigger, calling them out and be like, nah, that's not my fault. It's your fault.
You can't even shame motherfuckers for that shit.
Like that's what I think it comes down to. And and now we're making it so that even saying something like that out loud can be perceived as negative.
There's a big difference between the people who are telling people go out and get fat versus a Lizzo who's saying accept me the way I am.
She's not just saying accept me the way I am. She's dressing extremely scantily clad and then saying if you don't think that it's normal for a morbidly obese person to be wearing a G-string in the middle of public, then you're the problem. And they're trying to normalize society to this obese culture, which is extremely unhealthy. And
What is an obese culture?
a culture which normalizes
I'm
obesity.
obese and I haven't even heard that.
Well, obesity is already normal, so
I don't think it should be normalized.
You see what I mean?
And it was.
Obesity is not normal.
No, it is normal.
No,
interaction, that's exactly what it is. It's already normal. What's unnormal is the conversation that we're having of like, yo, we should try to like be skinnier and be healthier and be these things.
Based on where America has moved to.
Yeah,
it's the new norm.
Yeah, the last 10 years.
But realistically, it's not.
You know what I think it is? It's normal because those that probably don't believe in it are afraid to speak. But I guarantee you, if I was to poll, I don't know, 300 people on the street, and I ask them, is being fat normal? I guarantee you the majority is not going to tell me it's normal.
Especially that's on a smaller scale.
It doesn't matter. If I tell them it's an anonymous survey, where people won't know that they're saying it. Because I think a lot of people don't say something because they're afraid of the repercussions of saying the wrong thing.
Is it normal to be fat? No. But do you averagely see that if you're standing in a corner street in America? If you say, as opposed to you asking 300 people, sit there and look at 300 people. And I think more than 150 of them will be obese. And they might not be morbidly obese, but they'll be over what is considered to be the healthy weight. I think that's more what the average, you get what I'm saying? Or like very close. So it'll be like 140 if we're talking about percentage or something like that. That's what I think is normal.
Being overweight is normal, probably.
And it wasn't normal.
But
just a
what's
couple
the
decades
difference
ago.
between a obese person, myself, walking around in a G-string or a bathing suit, as I do almost every day, and a skinny person Like, is it okay that the skinny person is doing that?
I don't think so, but
I don't think
that's for other reasons.
I get the whole in public thing.
To say that when Lizzo does it is the same as a Victoria's Secret angel is just not the same.
Yeah, what's the
'Cause
difference?
That's a perfect example she just used. Because what happened to Victoria's Secret in the last 2 years?
They spinning the block back though.
They're coming right back to it. They're like,
'cause
oh,
shit
this
just dropped drastically.
Yeah, not like they They were
What
like,
do you mean?
oh,
Why?
So
What do you mean spinning the block?
with Victoria's Secret, they started to push away from the angels models, and they started to push a more like plus size models. And over the last couple of years, they've like their stocks and their value and all this stuff has started to go down because of that. So now they're spinning the block back, going back to the original, like the super sexy woman of what their initial image of that was.
Yeah.
And I think it's something we have to say, especially like if you take those ideals of like the Victoria's Secret models, they're not meant to be the average person. And I don't believe people saw it and were like, that's what I'm supposed to be. It's more like that's aspirational. That's why they're literally labeled as angels. It's like you're like something very unique.
Yeah, but
you're not the average woman. That's why you were portrayed in the way that you were, and like not necessarily celebrated, but like showcased in the way that you are, because you're not average. Those women were not average. They can be aspirational. They can be motivational.
Why a young girl see one of these beautiful women that are I've never seen the cover, or none of that shit. But I'm like, I see a beautiful woman that's on a cover and not want to aspire to be that.
Because if they have like a fit body or something, they can say, "Oh, I can work towards that." You know what I mean?
That's what I'm saying.
But I don't think most women were gonna be like, "I'm gonna look like a perfect person every single time." You get what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think if we do the opposite, which is kind of what we're doing, we're telling women it's like, oh, I can get attention if I just get fatter. And that's not healthy.
I don't think you're going to get the right attention, but, it depends on what.
Do you think there's a difference between the two girls, between the G-string girl and Lizzo, like in her example? Like a Victoria's Secret model?
Well, I'm going to just be honest. I'm not attracted to overweight women.
I think in what scenario?
But do you think there's a difference of either one of them just standing
in which scenario?
But this is more
in a public, in the same scenario that she's
no, but like where are they wearing this?
She's
say at the beach,
thing, but she was actually courtside at a Lakers game. That's what it was. So like that's what actually happened. She had her ass out courtside at a Lakers game. So if it's Lizzo and a Victoria's Secret model both courtside
at a Lakers game, no.
Ass out. You think it's okay? Like, is there any difference for you?
For me, it's a difference because again, now I'm speaking me like. I'm talking about attraction. Like, I wouldn't be attracted to that. But I also wouldn't be attracted to somebody really skinny wearing that either.
Like, for that wouldn't be appropriate, no.
For neither one of them?
If we're talking about attraction. But as if we're talking about being appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Oh, no.
But then the person that likes fashion in me, I would say there's clothes that are designed for certain body types. And they don't fit well in all body types.
That's a different conversation.
That could be a different conversation.
Yeah.
Are you telling me they look? You're telling me it doesn't.
I'm not saying they look the same.
Well, I mean, Lizzo goes on stage.
What's the implication? So if I walk down the street, I'm a runway model. I'm a print and runway model. I have walked down a runway in a thong. So me doing that is shameful, but a skinny model is okay.
I didn't.
She has a cane.
She probably met in the past or something. I don't know.
And then she was skinny. Why?
She has a cane.
Nah, he laughing, but I'm just thinking about what you're saying because I'm like, damn, you're right. I wonder.
It was his face for me.
It's okay.
I didn't. I don't know if I use the phrase shameful.
Problematic.
But I don't think that we as a society should be modeling obesity.
But I'm not modeling obesity. I'm modeling the lingerie that obese people need to be able to have availability to buy.
Yeah. So they've always had the ability to buy.
We have not.
Lingerie.
If you go to Torrid, a single underwear is like almost $20.
Yeah.
And you go to like any other Walmart, any Target, and like all these underwears are on special for like $5 to like $20 and stuff.
Well, it does take more fabric to make it.
It does take more fabric to make it.
They use that as an excuse, but that would make yards of fabric for gowns.
Is a small a different price than an extra large or a large?
It is.
And we're willing
for 3XL shirts, I got to pay more money.
I think people view models and Instagram people and all of us who are plus size and proud as we're pushing this obese lifestyle.
Yes.
No, I'm pushing the fact that this is what I live in. This is my life, and I need other people who feel this way to say, hey, I want to be able to wear clothes that look cute too.
I do think there's a problem with obesity in America, but I think it's a first world country problem because it's spread across the globe. And also, I don't see it as a problem. I do feel like health-wise, people should try to be healthier, but there's no perfect body. There's no perfect person. There's no perfect size. And there's people who are underweight. There's a lot of them. And then there's a lot of people who are overweight. So I really don't see it as like a problem. But just to touch on what you were saying, because I am in the fashion industry, I wanted to become a fashion designer. My dad was one. And they buy 10 rolls of fabric for one price. So it really doesn't cost that much to make underwear.
Sure, but don't you also have to worry about distribution? I mean, if the average person is, let's say, in between small, medium, large, and you're sending clothes out for those, you know you could send out 10,000 of this, 10,000 of that, 10,000 of that. You can't always send out 10,000 3XLs because you're not going to have that many people fitting in the 3XL.
No, because there's somebody who works in marketing and they research that area. There's a census. So we have a database of what type of people are there. Now, we don't know who's going in there, but we know the type of people that live in that area and the type of the people that come and visit the area. So that
her response was just sounded like real fashion designer and not like fashion administrator of the business.
That's not true whatsoever. It doesn't make any sense. Even at a small scale, like let's say you're gonna make 100 hoodies. Simple, right? On average, you're probably gonna make hoodies from small to like maybe XL to XL, right?
I probably wouldn't even make 2XL on the first drop.
That's what I'm saying. Like you probably wouldn't. And even if you are out of the 100, you may do like 85 between small and XL. And the last 15, you split them in those large sizes. Just because you know, one, you're not going to have as many people. And two, if they don't move, you're going to have to hold on to this inventory that you already put money into. And then if you got to worry about distribution, and I'm sending this throughout everywhere in the country, now I have this in 50 different Walmarts sitting there. You get what I mean? So like her answer didn't make any sense. Just it goes beyond just the cost of producing it. It's the cost of transporting it, and then the cost of it being lost because nobody bought it. And then I have to take that out.
that person is doing their job accordingly, and usually large sizes are sold out.
Okay, so somebody brought up the food desert earlier. I can't even think of an area that would have a so-called food desert.
Sorry, can someone explain, like maybe just for my ignorance, I'm guessing a food desert is just there's no food anywhere?
No, it's healthy options for food. So you can go into certain low-income areas and you'll see a Starbucks, a McDonald's, a Chick-fil-A, but there's no Trader Joe's.
A food desert actually properly.
Starbucks and Chick-fil-A are where Trader Joe's are. I just want to add that.
No, but even
the
then,
McDonald's is more like with the Walmart and the Burger King and Wendy's and stuff.
I think that's this argument. I have a little bit of issue with it because I think it's more of a cultural thing, more than a fact that there's no access to food. And I think, and maybe I'm a little biased because I grew up. My parents have a grocery store, which is in the middle of the hood, which is where people will buy food, usually with like WIC, food stamps, and so on. And I can tell you that most people, even if we had healthy options, because you can only buy food with food stamps, like I would have people that will literally wake up, come in, and their breakfast will be bags of potato chips and soda. You know what I mean? As opposed to choosing to get a cold sandwich made or something that will be relatively healthier. Crazy. You know what I mean? So I think it's more of a cultural issue rather than saying that there is no access to good food.
Properly, there isn't any, like for a long period of driving, there's one gas station and a liquor store. Then you have to drive 2 more miles to hit the next grocery store.
But with the food desert, it's not just that there can be a grocery store there, but if I'm making minimum wage, I'm not gonna spend all of my money on what is gonna last me 2 meals versus what's gonna last me an entire week.
Yes.
Or if I'm on EBT.
I'm gonna disagree. 100%. Because just seeing people use their food stamps, I rarely saw people doing big shopping. So it was almost like a lot of quick shopping for like smaller things and like nickety knickknacks.
If you're making like, let's say a little bit more than minimum wage to where it's like enough where you don't qualify for food stamps, but you don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't really afford all that extra stuff. Like, I get what she's saying. I don't entirely disagree. Where it's like, you might eat a little unhealthier.
But
so
I
you
think
can
you're a
eat more.
perfect example because you've seen people buy and you can see the choices they make. And it's not like they're saying, I'm going to buy what's going to last me more. They buy a lot of sodas. That doesn't last more. They buy a lot of chips and cookies. That doesn't last more.
But no, what I'm saying, everybody's not like that. Like, it might just be somebody going to, like, all right, y'all, I'm going to go to McDonald's and eat twice a day for $5 or $6 each meal. That's $10, $12, whatever. Like, they might be like, all right, that's cheaper than me getting a whole bunch of stuff to do meals and all that shit, which kind of isn't, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they might not have the time to cook and all that shit. I think there's a way to eat affordably. But like, if you're trying to save money, you know what I'm saying, you can eat a little unhealthy. There's people, I've heard people that have found little like tricks or whatever.
Little loopholes.
Yeah.
And I have specific things that I have to choose to buy versus what I can't buy.
Yeah.
I'm born and raised in.
So EBT, she's talking about food stamps.
Yeah, sure.
And on food stamps, you can buy anything that's food. Yeah, you can buy cigarettes with it, but you can buy food.
There's so many small towns that you don't even know that they're there. Most of them you won't see on a map, but if you're from there, then you'll know,
Sure.
and they all have to.
You guys got anything else to talk about?
You want to wrap it up there?
Yeah, I'm over it because this is the type of topic that honestly they just annoy me because I just like it's an excuse fest all over the place, and it's just the only guy I will give him credit because I think he is very, very aware. Was the first guy that spoke, the guy with the red shorts.
Crocs?
Yeah, he was very balanced because at least he was saying, yeah, he was recognizing it and he was taking accountability for his choices. And like I cannot blame him. I was like, oh, you're aware of what you are, and like if you want to make a change, he understands that he's the one to make that change, not that somebody else needs to do it for him. As opposed to saying, is the entire system against me that's gotten me to be this fat?
Yeah, he was the one that wasn't making any excuses or blaming anything outside of him.
So, in conclusion, it was a choice. Let us know how you feel in the comment section about it all. At least that's what I think, or what we think. Please hit the like, comment, and subscribe. This has been another episode of Never Famous. Thank you.